There we go. All right. Beautiful. Okay, so this is our wither sculpt. This is where we're at. We just did a bunch of work on the rib cage. Tried to start messing with the sort of the connection of the two rib cages. I'm not really happy with it. I think I'm going to actually look up some reference material to get that a little better before we really dive into it. But tonight I figured we'll make some good progress and just start whacking at the skulls and giving them some real defined faces. So that's kind of the plan. That's where we're at. The yeah, I mean, if you're catching up, we're pretty much doing a wither sculpt from Minecraft, doing it a little more anatomically correct. Last session, was that last time? Put down, no, time before that. We put down a metal wire armature, so it's holding them up, glued it, or taped it down to the board, threw some clay over the top of it, blocked out the shapes, and then I think last time we spent kind of carving out the rib cage sort of shapes. So if you will give me just a minute, I need to go grab a glass of water and then we will get started. So pardon me for just a moment and I will put on some music so you can enjoy. All right, be right back. Okay, I'm back. Sorry for the delay, and thank you for waiting around. I spent so much time flapping my gums that I need to have water handy. Otherwise I get a little parched. How's everybody doing tonight? So cool. I think this is the most number of people dogpiling in at the start of the stream that we've had yet. Yeah. Well, fudge. We should do a lot of things in life, but, you know, what are you gonna do? You can't help it. Kamachu, glad to have you in. Dark Wolf, hello, hello. Frozen August, of course, thank you for being in. Couldn't get started without the welcome committee. Latcher Dextan. Is that a new face? If so, hello, hello. RBP, always good to have you in. #1 fan right there. Literally. Big Fudge. Big Fudge, you've been doing great by being literally the first one in the stream, I think, for the last few streams. Famous Films, Brian, so glad to have you starting to join in on the streams. And Brandon, of course. The X is in front of your name. I mean, you get mentioned last. But by no means does that rate you lower. Okay, so what I was thinking with tonight was face. Why not? It's kind of a big part, right? We've already blocked out the ribs. I mean, so our approach is we're going to keep working in layers and working in layers and working in layers. it's not that we're done with it, by no means. I want to smooth them out and really carve them out even more, but it's just kind of nice to keep the whole piece advancing. And so the two pieces that I could have worked on next, one would be the spine along the back. The back could be developed more through here, shoulder blades, and the spine in between. But I feel like we kind of did a lot of like really boring work doing the ribs. So let's just jump onto the heads and try and get the skulls down a little better, because these are probably going to take a good chunk of work, and we're going to probably mess them up pretty good a few times. So might as well start on them now and get these along, and then we can come back to them and clean them up. But I don't know, what do you think? I kind of feel like that's the most undeveloped part right now. Well, Latrodexon, sorry for mistaking you for a newcomer, so I will be sure to remember you better. I'll write that down. And Kamachu, yeah, it's good to have you back in. I know it's a bit of odd times. Glad everybody had a chance to actually get in a bit, because Wednesday is going to be the last stream for a week, because I'm going to be heading out of town, taking a little time off, and so I will be missing the Friday, Monday, and Wednesday streams from there. So 3 streams after the next stream I'll be missing. Bummed that I have to take the time off, especially when it's like, seems like this is really kind of picking up and we're right in the middle of a project, but I kind of need some time off, and it's good to take a break every now and then. Latro, I think give me something to key in on. I do really poorly with names. Like I literally do really bad with names. I make flashcards for people's names. I do so badly with them. I'm not even kidding. I keep a flashcard app on my phone because I have a problem with it. So my apologies. I by no means mean to offend. So first things first, we're just gonna start carving a mouth into this sucker. Because he certainly needs an open mouth, I've decided. Yeah. A little more character. Latra, that's right. You're saying this would be good probably for Facebook too, huh? Okay, now I remember you. I apologize. Having something to connect the information with is very helpful. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm so glad you're back. We need your good ideas. Okay, so first things, actually what I should be doing is getting out some reference. I don't like the... Let's see. Sorry, I'm going to have to move the camera for a sec. So we have, here, let me move this on the other side. I have this reference, which is kind of what we're doing for sizing, but I don't like the skull on it. I think it's a little boring. It's a little flat, actually. There's not a lot of depth to it, but I do like... Oh, that's right, the bronze casting too. That was also another good idea. Yeah, absolutely. All the more reason to make sure you're staying in here, because we absolutely need that. That's right. Okay. Now I remember. Yeah, it's come flooding in. Okay. So I don't know if you can see that skull. I like that skull. It's got a lot of depth and character to it, so this will be a really good reference. And then on the other side, we have this guy, which we can kind of get a little bit of the side shapes. But at some point I may actually want to bring up a full reference of a skull, because I want to get a little more detail into it. I'm trying to think where's a good place for this reference. Let's try this. Oops. Sorry. Let's put this up like this so we can both look at it more easily. I'm just bumping everything. Is that good? Is that kind of easy to see? Okay. So, right now he looks like he's missing his upper lip a little bit. So that we need to block out a little. So we'll just get this a little softer and then we'll pop that onto there. I think this kind of tool may be good for like pressing things on a little bit. I'm gonna say it looks a little bit like, I don't know if you can kind of see, but it looks a little bit like a quarter of a tennis ball. Steve didn't lose his teeth. We just slashed open his mouth. That jaw look there. We're gonna give him a little more. Kind of really start blocking out that shape. So if you kind of feel, and you can actually, if you reach it, you can kind of feel it. If you push against your teeth, just a little above your teeth through your lips, you can kind of feel how round that shape is, right? And that's kind of what gives you the shape to your upper lip. And that kind of, I mean, we're gonna probably be knocking away a bunch of this too, right? There we go. Let's put, I'm gonna probably end up carving back. This will look weird for a sec, so just bear with me. We'll build it up and then knock it back, and build it up and knock it back. Because his face is a little flat right now, so his nose actually needs to be brought out. Give him a little more depth. Kamachu, weekend was good. It's just been busy. I actually had a sort of a work project that I had to do all weekend. I'm also getting ready for my trip, so just a lot to do in a short amount of time. Actually, okay, bear with me on this shape. Just trust me, we're gonna fix it. I've actually am trying to get some more shop space put together. So I got a little bit of a garage rental that we picked up so that I can have a space where I can do some more aggressive prop making. So that should hopefully benefit us. I'm just trying to think how I can get Wi-Fi out there, because I don't know if the router will work, so I may have to do some recording on a camera to bring into play. And compressed gaming. I do not speak Polish, but I do have Polish heritage. I got oive from my grandmother. Rest her soul. But she was Swedish. Although that said, my great-grandfather was Polish. And I think I have German in the family too, so having Polish and German is kind of funny if you realize that maybe great-grandpa was one of the stops on the war. But okay, just looking a little bird-like at the moment, but that's okay because we're going to add the eye sockets. We're going to build up around that. Power the Bat, hello, welcome. So we need, so if you can kind of see here, we kind of need these cheekbones. I don't know if you can kind of see, oops, let's move this over so if you can see a little better. It's a little too light, I'm sorry. You can kind of see the shape of the nose, like the nose, and then in there, it's kind of like you have your jaw that goes out and then down, and then teeth bump out. And then down, and then scoops out to the nose, and then down for the eye sockets. I know I'm just bumping everything. And he's got a little bit of a bird beak going right now too. So we're gonna go a little more additive with it now, and then we can scoop and carve back. We'll scoop and carve back. It'll look hopefully a little less stupid than it does at the moment. Okay, so the question is, do we want to just make eye sockets, or do we want to make them as two separate things? I'm going to try this approach, and this may be the wrong approach, because I feel like that the brow ridge is kind of its own thing too. No, this is the wrong approach. We should make two separate pieces that we wrap around for the eye sockets. Like this. If you guys think this is creepy, you should actually see what I'm doing for my Halloween costume. I already picked something out and it's terrifying. I actually posted a picture of it to my Twitter. I basically got it for the fact because it is frightening. But I'm thinking I may do that for like a like Halloween sculpt when I get back. I don't know, maybe take a little break and do that, or I'll just do it separately, maybe post videos to YouTube. Ah, this is not going as I had hoped. Bah, stupid fingers. Okay. I just need this to stick. Just stick. And then I can fix you. Okay. I just need it to add the clay. We'll see. Hopefully this will get better. Just a little more. I'm just working this clay down. Power the Bat, thanks for stopping in. Have a good night, and hopefully we'll see you Wednesday. Probably, I'm guessing we'll either be still working on the face stuff, or we may actually end up doing spines. I'm thinking. And at some point we need to actually work on the terrain as well. So if we're getting frustrated with the look, maybe we'll start building up the terrain. So I'm trying to keep my hand out of the way, but also still make it so it's easy to work with. Looks a little bit, I don't know if I use frightening, because he does not look frightening. Just bear with me. Give it and let's go. Hello, hello. Let's see, we do need a nose. Maybe I'm going about this wrong. I don't know. Here's kind of the nose shape, I guess. Yeah. Well, the nose, actually, we kind of already started carving out a piece for it, right? So I think if we add a bridge to the nose, that'll already start making the shape. So if we carve down into that, and then we drop some clay across the bridge, right? Maybe that'll do it. Yeah, they're getting a little goggle-esque in this, isn't it? So let's see, skull has about a bit of a point to the ridge. So let's bring the ridge point upwards. Whoops. Come on. The point is right in between. We need those brows. I think that's what's really throwing it off. Need, I think, 2 needles. Anki Battle. What is Anki? Anki Battle sounds familiar for some reason. But no, I can't say that I've heard of Anki Battle. What is it? Okay, so let's go with brown, and then we're separately going to bring that up. Brown, and then up. Okay. Let's see. And this should all be smoothed back. Use the loop tool to kind of pull the clay back against it. Right, we're getting there. This is a bit of an evolution process here, so my apologies again. Just bear with me. We really want to just throw the shapes down to kind of get. Oops. Sorry, when I'm doing detail work, I'll get quiet, which means I'll probably start getting really quiet towards the end of this sculpt. Because I'm focusing. Ugh, this looks terrible at the moment. This bothers me. It's alright, we'll fix it, we'll fix it. It's just a little airborne, it's still good, it's still good. Let's see. I just kind of need to start blending the shapes. I think that's part of the problem, is that it's all too separate right now. Also, I'm making the eyes a little too vertical. They need to be, oops, they need to be a little more horizontal. Very cool, Camacho. Yeah, if you're in the Burbank area, you're actually close to where I work. We're just down the way a bit in West Hollywood. But let's see. Still need this dish. That's why. There we go. That's the problem. Leaving this ridge going all the way around the outside is what the problem is. It should help. Then we're gonna bring this back a bit. See, I mean, I know it's really rough, and I'll smooth it out so you can see, but you can kind of start seeing how the shape's forming up a little better. We have a little more division in the parts of the skull. This is what we wanted, which is good, which is good. So, I know it's like, usually when you're adding stuff, especially when like clay, you have to kind of go crazy over the top so that when you bring it back down, it's, you know, loses some of the detail. It's kind of the same when we're doing like washes and painting and what else, like doing the skin texture and smoothing. It's just, it's kind of a way of it, so it's okay to go a little extreme. This is tricky because this isn't actually this is an actual gap. Let's fix this in here. So the nose has the nasal bridge, and there's a small little piece in the middle, and it may be a little too small for us to replicate, but if you look, that's what divides your nose inside, and then the fleshy bit's built on top. Let's pull that around. Let's see. Oh, this fell down. I'm sorry. So this should actually drop in more. To get that upper skull shape. Right? Kinda wanna do the same here. I know I'm kind of manhandling it, huh? So let's bring this, and this is also gonna bring it out. Keep that, we'll kind of carve it out a little bit. Yeah, right, Brandon. Just, it's like a little patience, and it starts to shape itself a little better, which is good. Oops, I didn't want to deposit clay there, so just gotta take the time to do it. Then we'll go back in and try and fix it up a bit more. Stupid thing, you're supposed to be staying up right now. Because the nose should, right now we kind of have it as a bit of a separate item. And it should be converging in together to make a little bit of a bridge. Right? A little bit like that. A little bit. No. Push it in under the brow, and then the eyes need to be a little more square, it looks like. So just try and square these out, right? It looks like we're missing a little of the ridge here, and this should look a little more straight in. If there's a way we can flatten that with a little help. So if I hold this underneath, maybe I can flatten it a little bit and draw against it. Looks like we have a little too much here, and that's the bone going on the side, and that cheekbone should actually be lower, I think. If I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to feel. Yeah, this is what part of what's throwing me off, is this is actually lower. It's what comes out a little more in the under socket of the eye. So it's a little more down there. See, it's lower here too. Sorry, it was good on this side, just this side was wrong. And since it's already sticking out a bit, we should probably just lay it a little closer instead of having it bump out so much. There. It's a little better, right? We're getting there. Okay, so what else is wrong? Sorry, I repeat, I can't say I remember. Let's go in max. Let's see. So the jaw is way too wide. That's another issue. So let's narrow it. It kind of changes his look a little bit, but and I'll knock back. He shouldn't have an underbite like that, actually. It should be back. It's a little better, right? Hello, the Jericho. Okay, so we've shaped the skull a little better. It still feels a little wide right here. Okay. It's better proportions, I think. Let's smooth out this transition just a little bit. Do this just to bring it a little better into the shapes. It's fine if that jaw is the way it is. Nasal cavity could use a little more definition. We'll work on it. Let's see, how's that front of the jaw? Should be a little bit of a, the nasal cavity should be a scoop, so using the side, this needs to go back, that's what it is. The bridge of the nose needs to dive in a little more from the side. So when you look at it from the side, it should retreat. There should be a noticeable divot, which there is, which we're good. There should be a scoop where the nasal is. And then now we're getting into teeth. And let's just kind of etch out some teeth with, where's our needle tool? I know it's here, there it is. By the way, this is a ridiculous pain in the ass if you have it sitting in your bag like this and you reach in for it. Nothing like cramming a bunch of clay into your skin. Okay, so do this. I think this is well. There we go. So we'll kind of give him a little bit of a bite plate, and we're just gonna try and just cut some teeth into him. To be honest, off the top of my head, I don't know how many teeth we have as humans,
but I do know that we're probably not going to be too concerned about getting it that correct. Because I think if we go too small in detail, we're going to kind of ruin it, you know? So let's just go with this for now. I can just kind of give a quick sketching of the teeth.
Hi, my name is Steven.
It looks ridiculous. He looks way too happy. It is not terrifying. We'll have to fix that. And that probably has to do with the shape of the lower jaw. Yeah, that's because the jaw is going straight up. That's why. So let's fix that because it's kind of dumb. Okay, well, this is going to be a little bit of a project, I think. Congrats on finishing your paper. You can tell how much Steve is happy for you at the moment. This is kind of what I was saying before, that like, do we want to just mix this jaw? Maybe that's what we need to do. This is what I was saying, that like anatomical differences really make a huge change when you're working with stuff, and little tweaks gives you a totally different impression of the character. Also the emotion too. I mean, you think of how subtle a smirk is, right? So, you know, it really doesn't take much to give the wrong impression. So that's why, you know, you have somebody who looks like he's now smiling, and when we want him to be terrifying. Let me do this to help stiffen up the neck. Just a little canned air helps, just helps seal it up, or helps when it gets warm to help it stiffen. Just want to make sure these connections are a little sturdier. Otherwise that head's going to pop off. Although, you could argue that maybe it was better to just pop the heads off and do them separately. Oh well. You can see some armature popping through. That's no good. Good to know. Everybody call Kamachu just Cam. Makes it easier for everybody. You know, maybe it's the angle of the brows too. Maybe that's why. Let's try sinking that middle brow. A little better. Oh well. Okay. I'm not going to obsess over that one particular character because we have other ones to go with. And I know it looks a little silly on the cam, but I can tell you that it actually looks relatively decent in person. You got the right shapes blocking in. Yeah, he's got a bit of a caveman brow, doesn't he? I kind of think maybe it's a way to go just to help, you know, distinguish the character. Let's see how this tool does with some smoothing. Maybe we can knock out, let me see, where's that loop? I'm just gonna like smooth it out a little. Maybe we can I have to go back in and look at the shapes and what shapes they should be making. That's kind of what I was saying, you know, if you take the time to try and get at least the anatomy proportions and you just look at the pieces, you can actually get rough approximations to get you where you want to be. I mean, this is all this is, just kind of looking at where it relatively shapes, right? I mean, if you think of where we started with sort of the Iron Giant look, yeah, it's actually a pretty solid move forward. Or maybe I'm just, you know, justifying my poor decisions. Okay, so that said, we'll start. Who do we want to work on next, Muffins or Bob? Need you to decide the next victim. Bob is nothing. He is just a blank canvas. Muffins is already kind of blocked out a little bit, but we'll need the same sort of treatment, except that he will have he will have no lower jaw. So any votes? Yeah, you're right, Brandon. The lower jaw is too wide. We'll have to fix that up. It needs to be more narrow. But I'm gonna leave it for now and then move on to some other pieces to get those brought together. All right, we got one vote for Muffins. We got one vote for Bob. Would anybody watch a wood turning stream? I would host a wood turning stream. I think watching wood turning is fascinating and it's frightening. Any sort of lathing makes me feel like, you know, fingers can be gone at a moment's notice. Hey, Speedy. Hot and spicy. Iron golems? I don't know if I know exactly what you're referring to. Oh, iron golems. Oh, yes. That might not be a bad project, too, at some point. I may actually do that. There's a cool technique of cold casting where you can brush powder inside of a mold. So maybe iron golems would be kind of a cool idea, and then we can make really, like, shiny metal. Brandon, I have a feeling that was a pun. Nope, dropped clay. All right. We got a Muffins and a Bob. We got no tiebreakers, and I think we saw Muffins first, so I think we're gonna go with Muffins. And plus he's right here. And to be honest, Bob's gonna be more work, so I'm being lazy on top of it. So shape-wise, again, if you want to look at the profile that we have, is that you have the brow ridge, and then it kind of like goes to a bit of a divot in between, and then you have the nasal cavity, which is also a scoop, and then you almost have like a bump for how the teeth come out like that. So gosh,
Do we like how we came to the shapes before? Was that the nasal ridge, everything? Let's try maybe spacing the eye sockets was a bad idea. I think maybe that's what it was. So actually, I'm looking at the shapes, and I kind of feel like it goes like brow ridge into like, it's almost like we want the brow let's just mash that down. How's that for a look? It's like he's got giant eyebrows. Oh gosh, it looks like these wood puns are being quite poplar. Damn it, blew it. Okay, so these come around, and then actually it goes up. I'm gonna try this. Maybe this will give us the shape. Where's I need like a sharp edge. There we go. So we'll do that, and then I'll just kind of nix it here. Like that. And we'll do the same with this one and bring it up. It's almost like a scuba diver mask. And we'll do the same thing. Do I have something easier to do this with? Yeah, we'll just use this. It's fine. There we go. Get rid of that. Okay. So bear with me. I keep asking you to do that. So this kind of drops in and starts to form the nasal bridge, right? But it also heads into let's drop that brow in, right? Cool, kind of gives us that shape. And then I'll just use the edges. I'll just pull that back into the shape. There we go. And then we'll adjust it. I know it's a little rough. Alright. Sorry, I gotta kind of, oops, keep bonking that camera. I gotta duck back in here and kind of drag it from the back. Gotta be careful because Muffins is a bit of a touchy head. So this will just kind of give him a little different look. And he's got weird goggle things going. He almost looks like a Bender eyes. God. Is this what the future of prop craft is going to be? Everybody just logs in to share puns. That's fine. We need just an advertiser that's looking for wordplay as a target audience. Maybe a thesaurus. Alright, now we're just trying to knock out that goggle look. Open up the eyes. Oops. Probably should be doing this. Need to be more square. Oops. This underside wasn't attached. There we go. Let me just keep this nasal spot open. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe a bender would be fun to do sometime. How about like the big pharaoh statue? Like the remember me! And then I can hook him up to a lighter and make him a flamethrower. That'd be kind of cool. Okay, same situation. So I think I've come to realize that it's not so much a little ball that goes up for the upper lip as much as it's kind of a disc. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe I've just been overthinking it. Cam, have a good night, and hopefully we'll see you Wednesday. Thanks for stopping in. You're one of the regulars. You have to come now. Nah. Maybe it is a ball. I have to change the room name to beware of puns. I only know terrible jokes. How about this for a terrible joke? That I got kicked out, or I got caught peeing in the public pool. Yeah, the lifeguard yelled so loud I almost fell in. Waka waka waka. So we're probably gonna have to modify the way we've done his jaw here a bit, which is fine. We'll just have to chip away from the underside a bit. There we go. More wide. I should have a little bit of a divot there. And then it should be in like that. And this should be more of a ridge. Let's see how. No, this needs to be narrower. Okay. That's definitely a cleaner joke. My apologies. It was a little bit doity. It's the only one I can think of at the moment. Okay, so I feel like we gotta frame that lower nostril a little better. Where's that chisel tip? That chisel tool is probably a good one. Hello. Is that chisel? No. I swear we had it. I wonder if the cat's made off with it. Would not be surprised. I don't really see. There it is. This little guy. Was hoping to see Ricky in here tonight, but I'm guessing he had a date. Seems to be what keeps him away. Okay. So again, when we go back to, so we're trying to put something together, right? And you go, okay, what's not working? Why doesn't it look right? Why is it just not feeling like it's setting up? It's good to look back at the big shapes, right? So you can start kind of seeing the setup a little better, right? But I do need an upper lip. So we just need a little bit, I think, to help make it stand out a little better. And then we'll smooth it down in. Okay. So, where's my masher? Do I want to use this? Yeah, we can use this. This is fine. I'm actually really happy with how this is coming along. I mean, you know, at any given moment you stop and look and be like, nah, it's not where I want it to be. But I think I would actually say that overall, I think we have really started like progressively blocking out the right shapes, and I think we're going to really hit that sort of anatomical milestone that we're going for. I think when it's all said and done, it'll be good. Okay. So we got the sort of the upper lip there now. It goes divot and then out. It should be a slope out to the tip of the teeth. So divot's not in enough. That out. For the teeth. We just need to smooth. And this is where the teeth are, which means we need to actually... Ooh, we kind of might have a little bit of a problem here. So the skull shape will bring the upper jawline up like this and back here. So maybe we'll have to start working on the spine. Okay, so let's brace him with the spatula tool and start etching in some teeth. Just do this. Just get those shapes in. I'm just sketching. Right? Now there's a lot of material we need to knock out. Where's this? I just worry that this is also where the attachment point is, and if we take out too much, that we may actually damage the connection, because he's already been a bit iffy on sticking around. We'll figure it out. If not, I'll probably move it. I mean, I'm not going to leave a big gross piece if that means we ruin the piece, ruin the sculpt. So it's a little better. I mean, again, it's not It's not perfect. Where's my brush? There we go. Let's just clean up some of these pieces. That's not bad. I have to say, like, I think this looks a little more like a kind of a real skull than this guy. This is a little more like a ghoul. So doing that like goggle technique, right? So good sort of FYI is that roll out the noodle and then wrap it and bring it up and around, and that kind of gives you that sad skull look. Cool. Take a little water break, and now we'll start on Bob. I'll have to go back and pull some pictures from like each major step, because I think like the difference is pretty drastic. Dig it. It's good stuff. Good stuff, guys. Okay. Let's... Where's my needle? There we go. Let's kind of draw the face. So... this is kind of the center line there. Like what? About there for the eyes. That's a little bit, and actually if we go a little off center, actually this is center more here. That works. So these are where his eyes will be. Where's my... there we go. Eyes are a little close together, but we'll fix it. And then that means his mouth should be... no? Maybe a little low? Maybe it should be low. And I'm not just trying to retrofit my decision so I don't have to do more work, but I'm thinking sad. Like, what makes sad? I mean, like, the joke is why the long face, right? But I think the longer the face will make him a little more sad. Yeah, let's go with it. Start with the eyes. Yeah, Muffin kind of looks like he does have one. I'm telling you, like, on my... from where I see it right here, the skull looks like perfect. It looks like a perfect little skull. I know it doesn't look as good from there, but where I'm looking at it, it looks like spot on. The camera kind of gives a little bit of a weird flattening effect to everything. So Brandon, what are we going to do with the rib cage? So what I want to do is I want to make it look like that he's a bit of a like a cancerous growth onto Steve. And then, so we'll kind of work making that texture a little better, but I wanted to actually reference some like a gross skin, tension skin kind of pulling it, because what I was putting down there just wasn't happy with how it was turning out. So I just wanted to make sure I found some good reference to kind of help and work, and then I'll make him kind of like stuck and mutated into that, and I may even like maybe pull a little bit of the head there, or maybe his head's going to be free, and then I can bring Stevens in, or I can bring Muffins in a little bit and make him a little more attached. I mean, the spine from him could actually go towards the front instead of the back. We could have it like tuck in that way, or I don't know. Still going to make some decisions on how we like make it like really gross. A lot of options, a lot of fun. Oh, and I got a wonderful gift. I got 5 pounds of monster clay as a gift, so it's not useful for this project, but trust me, you're going to absolutely see this stuff in another project. It tends to be more of the professional clay that you use. I probably already explained this, so my apologies if I'm retreading, but there are multiple different types of clay. Water clay is what I think a lot of people know as clay, which is stuff that you bake in a kiln, and then you have you have oil clay, which is what we did the Necronomicon out of, and then you have polymer clay, which is what we're working with now, and then the monster clay is actually a mix of oil clay and wax. So it's a little sturdier when it's cooler, and it's meant to be reusable. I mean, you can't bake it; it's impermanent, but it lets you do like more fine detail work, which is really cool. So I don't know if it would actually work on something this fine, but who knows? Hey Evan. Don't know what to tell you. Hopefully nobody else is having to deal with lag. Alright, let's give him browse. Alright, let's wrap these around. Do the goggles. Come on, stick. Same thing. Wrap. Up. These are too small. I think I made it too small. There's a bigger one. So could I use monster clay to make masks? Not wearable ones. I mean, you could. I mean, just as much as you could pile mud on your face if you really wanted to, right? But if you're talking about something that's sturdy, it wouldn't be good for that. Monster clay tends to be for making things that you're molding, and a lot of professional sculpts are you make molds of for multiple reasons. One is that you need to transfer the material to something lighter, so you actually want to work in one material to get a better sculpt, and then transfer to another material that's lighter and more flexible. From a professional standpoint, on things like movie sets and that, like, when you're putting on prosthetics onto characters at multiple times a day, over and over and over and over again. I mean, if you think that, like, take like Abe Sapien, for example, from Hellboy, if you haven't seen it, or even Ron Perlman, the Hellboy himself, like, they have to get in and out of that makeup every single day that they shoot. So if you're shooting for a few months, that's potentially 100 plus applications, right? So you'll want to make lots and lots of copies of it, but you want to have something that's fine detail. So that would be another reason why you would want to make copies as just sort of a baseline standard for what you're doing. And so monster clay is where that kind of stuff works in, is where you can make really high detailed sculpts that you make a copy of, for sure. Because when you're working with monster clay, you're either doing it for practice and fun, or you're actually planning on making a copy. I mean, even this. So Brandon, like, if using it as a mold itself, yeah, sorry, I didn't understand the question. That's my fault. You wouldn't use monster clay as a mold making item, if that's what you mean, because it's really flexible. So, but not in like a rubbery kind of way. So it's more for the item, the master, not the mold. Okay, so hold on. I'm just gonna catch up here. So you're getting buffering. So when you're saying about transcoding options, what do you mean? Sorry, I'm still a bit of a noob for Twitch, so if there's any resources that you can point me to help make your guys' viewing experience better, I'd be more than happy to try and adjust for it. Yes, I don't understand what you mean when you say transcoding options. And that's my own ignorance. That's, again, still getting up to speed on this. It's actually why I do this, is to learn how to do this stuff better. The art's just incidental. The other thing too I've seen that what monster clay can be really good for is pouring, using it to fill a mold. So what you could do is you can make a rough of something, or like maybe cast your face or something like that. Use the monster clay to make a mold, or pour into a mold of it, and then you can then sculpt on top of that. So it is even another intermediary step. I'm actually planning on doing something just like that. I'm thinking of, I have some ideas that would be redoing some 3D prints. So I'd get something 3D printed, make a mold of it, and then fill it with a clay sculpt, and then use that as like a starting point. And if it's one of those things that works out, I could justify getting a 3D printer, because it would be a way to get to sculpting faster. Let's see. Oh, I got you, Frozen. Well, I'll look into that. I don't think I'm eligible for partnering with Twitch just yet, but let's see. I mean, we have a pretty good number of followers. Actually, I mean, thank you guys. From last Friday, we crossed the 100 followers mark, so thank you guys. That was awesome. I got like almost 30 followers in a night. It was brilliant. Oh, look, there's a bunch of folk now. Katie the Doctor, hello. Mushika Teller, hello. Rare Skill, hello. White Bite, White Bright, sorry. Hello, hello. Katie, yeah, I'm sorry. I have to actually admit to a little bit of shenanigans on that one. I flipped it over to Minecraft to see if it would actually draw some more people in, just incidentally, because it is Minecraft related. We are making a wither sculpt. We're kind of doing it a little more of an anatomical version, so you can see 3 skulls. We're gonna make it like a floating torso. So it's Minecraft related. So hopefully you don't feel cheated on that one. And you have to pardon the goggles, because the goggle look is kind of how we get the basis of our skull brow shape. And it looks silly to start. Well, that's good. We're getting close. That's fine. I'll have to say we've so far built a pretty awesome community of people. So I'm glad it's growing. I'm also glad it's not blitzing too quickly, because it's kind of nice keeping the vibe chill and making sure that the people that are coming in kind of get what this is all about. So since we have a whole chunk of new people, this is just doing video game art, streaming it. Kind of a nice way to wind down at the end of the night, get together, talk about crafting stuff, make some bad puns. It's kind of a little bit of a QA too. Hopefully that you like crafting, you like doing creative stuff,
And this is a good place to hang out with people that like to do creative stuff too. That's why we're all here. And we're kind of learning as we go, to be honest. Just not getting this smoothed out like I want. Where's my tool? You know what tool we actually need is this guy. So this tool, it's a little more flat. See, it's a loop tool, but it's a little more flat, so it's a little stiff. This is just a really good, like, kind of like a smoothing tool. Kind of helps. Oops. It's like a good example here. I'll show you what it's really good at. So you see how this is all raked up? Like, that's actually a little bit of a trick, is you can take your rake tool. Where's my rake tool? There we go. So let's say we added a blob of clay, right? So that looks like we just stuck a blob of clay on there, right? So we could use something like a rake tool. This is actually a little heftier of a rake to rough and smooth it into the surface. Oops. That kind of helps make the edges a little more organic, right? But then the problem is you have a roughed up, raked up surface. So then you actually have a little smoothing tool like this guy. We can come back in and you just really lightly apply pressure. You see how it kind of helps smooth the surface. I know a lot of you guys probably already know this, but I like being able to recap and show you why we're using the tools that we do. So if you think if we spend all this time roughing out skulls and getting the shape down and it gets all messy and but then we can go back into something like this, it's sort of a way to start smoothing. Cool. Cool, Brandon. I'm glad you agree, because I feel like that it kind of helps expose people to the project, you know, by saying, hey, this is a game you like, you're looking for this game you like. And then people can log in and be like, oh, okay, yeah, no, this is BS, this is not the game I'm looking for, and then they can bail. But for a few special awesome folk, hopefully they'll stick around. And Diomedes, you're more into robotics and sculpting stuff. Robotics are freaking awesome. I wish I had been an engineer. I wish I'd gone into robotics. It's so cool. That's very, very, very cool stuff. If that's what you do and what you're into, then that'd be phenomenal. One of the crafting groups I work with, PropCraft, they actually had done a bunch of animatronic stuff for one of their Mass Effect sculpts, where they did a grunt head, you know, one of the Krogans, and had the eyes and eyebrows and all that stuff working too. It was so freaking cool. And White Bright. How long have I been doing this? When you say art in general, I've like always kind of done art as a kid. I've really took it kind of a little more seriously as my quote-unquote PropCraft brand in the last couple of years. And then as far as like how long have I been streaming, I think it's only been like, I think what, a couple months now? Maybe 2 months at most. Figured this was a good way to kind of share what I've been doing quietly by myself. Yeah, see, you know, Diomedes, you're a really good example of why PropCraft needs to exist. That's why we're here, is that there's a lot of different people that are creative in a lot of different ways, but it's all the same sort of vibe, you know?
we're into the same stuff, we're into the same things, and it's about creating stuff. And I know it's like super duper duper gushy kind of way to put it, but I mean, if you think about it, creating something is what the appeal is, right? That's what I like. I like that it's being imaginative but doing something about it. I mean, it's actually, if you think, like, robotics and sculpture have gone hand in hand for quite a while. I mean, doing animatronics, you know, doing a sculpt and then putting that into a foam latex so it's flexible as a skin, and then putting that over robotics is like one of the mainstays, staples of amusement parks and movies these days, and major VFX. I mean, if anything, if I were to want to go into like VFX in movies, I would have to learn how to make things for robotic armatures. So really, they're two things that are very, 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 very related. You know, Wally's sculpture would be awesome, Brandon. So it's kind of funny if you like, I think if you hide, see, that looks like a skull, right? It's kind of weird. It's like we're moving down. He's like slowly getting definition as we go. Oh man, this is like coming out so much better than I expected. Like seriously, the faces are terrifying. Latro Dexton, yes, by all means, please stream. I hope, like, if nothing else, that this inspires people to do more with Twitch than just play video games. I mean, I know that's what Twitch is. I get it. But there used to be Justin TV, and that was about doing more than that. And it's kind of a bummer that you're missing out on what's effectively a gaming culture. You know, there's more to it. Like, we enjoy games for more than just sitting down and playing the game itself. We like the ideas, we like the creativity, we like the worlds. I mean, when you read a book, when you get into a good story, it's usually more about the world that it takes you to than just, you know, the story itself. I mean, that's why Mass Effect is so great, right? Alright, Evan, I'll see you tomorrow at work. So yeah, it's worth noting, Machinima Evan, or Machinima Salsi, sorry, Machinima Salsi and I work together at Machinima. A Pony Licked You, welcome. Bat from Hell, welcome. Jack Stacks. Mr. Red Velvet. Terry 90, Terry J 90. Is that a J in there? Gosh, get such good exposure. I mean, I know you guys, some of you guys are just kind of breezing through, but by all means, please drop a follow so that we can come back. I'd love to have you if you're not able to stay. I feel like I have to keep pitching that. It's like almost like a radio station. Welcome back to KNX 90. For those just turning in, we're talking to Christopher Walken. Sorry. That was my most terrible radio impression. I'm contemplating the upper lip. How do we want to do this? Because I feel like we have to
we have to open up his jaw, but I almost wonder if it makes more sense to carve away the jaw and then build it out and try and do it that way instead of like forming the clay into the piece we want. Let's see, we need where's that loop tool? So, just so we're good on pronunciations, is it latrodextin or latrodextin? Yeah, it's interesting because, you know, working with Machinima puts us in contact a lot with YouTube and Twitch directly, right? Like, that's a part of a lot of our business is working with those guys. There are platforms, you know, it's just as much as TV show folk are in touch with the major networks that distribute them, because that's what they are for us. They're distributors. And it is going to be very interesting to see what starts shaping up between YouTube and Twitch. Can't say too much more than that, but let's just say that the purchase by Amazon was very interesting. Okay, I'm actually glad I shaved off a little bit there. That's good. And actually, hopefully the mic sounds a little better. I've just figured out a much better way to position it. It's actually below and I'm talking down into it. I know it's like not a big deal, but it's when you're trying to work with your hands and do stuff, it's kind of having to jockey around the mic and the cameras can be a little bit of a pain in the butt. Okay, so let's shoot. I wonder if there's a way. Trying to think how I could, when you get really like good armature tables, you can actually, they'll rotate and move so that you can spin them, but you can also rotate like multi-axis so that you get under weird stuff like this. But oh well, we're poor, we'll just make do with what we have. We'll just have to wait till we're like super mega famous and can afford things like 3D printers. Did I mention I want a 3D printer? Alright, where is... let's try a point tool. It's a little too soft. Where's my gray point? Here it is. Alright, this is my little soft point. Unfortunately, Bob is a little smaller, so he's a little more delicate to work with. I mean, I could rip the head off and just work on it that way, and it probably would go faster, but then I'd have to worry about putting it back on and blah 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 blah. You know what? Soft tool doesn't do it. We need the point tool. That works, and then we'll use the loop tool to drag it back a little bit. Sorry, I know Bob's a little on the dark side of the moon, but unfortunately... What time zone am I in? I am Pacific. I'm a California gent. Los Angeles is actually where I work. Everybody knows Los Angeles, right? Let's work on that lower jaw.
Big Hans, welcome. Yeah, Brandon, 3D printers are like, they're really on the cusp of becoming extremely consumer grade. The 5th gen MakerBots are right ready for being consumer ready. And if you go for the XL, the really big version, they have a climate controlled print table to hopefully help offset some of those calibration issues and those sort of things too, because, you know, you have to make it work with your current climate and all that junk. So, but that said, I'm willing to put up with that headache because 3D printers are awesome. And I have a very specific idea that I would love to do with them. Hey Big Hods. So I'm working on the album of the work. If you look below, I have some social links, and you can find a link to the YouTube channel for some past streams. Also, if you check out, I'm working on getting my stuff up and rolling where I have like all my back catalog of junk that I've done. There's a bunch of stills and stuff, but I would say the YouTube channel, you can get a quick look at some of what we did for the last project. We've only had one other big project than this one. But primarily I like to make video game stuff and art. I've done a skyhook. I've done a skyhook repaint. I've done Dragon Priest mask. I've done just a lot of stuff along the video game lines. How does that look? Sorry, I get distracted. I'm trying to figure out what to do with his lower jaw. Looks like he's got a big fat lower lip. Unfortunately, my Instagram is not super duper fleshed out. Let's see. You know what? Actually, you want to see my stuff? I'll show you my stuff. I do have a link. There you go. For anybody who wants to see some back catalog of my work, that is a place to go for right now. I just picked up Propcraft, the website, and I'm going to have to set that up with my work. But for now, it's my name. I'm sure if people really looked hard enough, they could find it. So, yeah. And Big Hods, depends what you mean. Like, I've only been doing the Propcraft for streaming art on Twitch for a little over a month now. I've been doing art itself, like just as like a hobby for, you know, pretty much my whole life. Mom was really artistic, kind of got raised in it. You know, was always in art class in high school and all that stuff, and went to an art college. But as far as Propcraft itself, as the entity that it is, doing cool, fun prop making and video game work, it's been the last couple years. So Propcraft itself, this Twitch channel and this community is just meant to kind of be some a cool place for people to hang out and chill, talk art. That's really about it. Just enjoy the community. Let's see if I bring this light over, if that'll help, so I can sculpt in the dark without leaving you guys out of it. You kind of see what I'm trying to do here. But yeah, our big goal is we're going to try and get, it sounds like, to make some of the options unlock. We need to get up to 100 concurrent streamers so that we can get Twitch to give us some other options for lower stream settings for folks. So I guess that's our goal, according to the lovely Frozen August.
Frozen August is also known as the commissioner of the Wokomagen, the director of the hospitality crew. I feel like that's a little bit better of a jaw. I mean, it sucks that I made it a noodle, but having it flat seems to be a little bit of a better shape. So let's see if we can fix that, because I like the idea, I just don't like the shape that it is right now. Oh, thanks, Big Heart. I went to the Art Institute of Los Angeles, actually. It was, I think it's the Art Institute of California now, Santa Monica chapter, but at the time it was called the Art Institute of Los Angeles. I know there's art institutes around quite a bit. So what I'm curious, and I'll have to look this up, is if the transcoder settings come in at 100 total viewers or total subscribers, because we crossed that 100 mark on subscribers because everybody here is fucking awesome. Pardon, I did not intend to cuss. But yeah, all the cool folks here are fantastical. So I'm using the like using the spatula just as kind of like to brace the chin so they flatten it out. Does it look trashed on the side? Because it is trashed on the side. I kind of like the little bit of a jaw sag going on there with him. Big Hod, it's good to know. We now have the 100 viewer mark, 100 concurrent viewer mark as confirmed. The hypothesis originally proposed by Frozen has now been verified by another independent source. Wonderful. I'm very big on the scientific method. Diomedes, yeah. Science Channel is pretty cool. It's kind of a bummer that like all of the history channels, for the most part, or the Discovery channels, I mean, have kind of gone like down the pooper. I've been super bummed with sort of the state of TV, which is actually why I don't have television anymore. Ditched it, just gone full digital. And largely because of that, because I love, like, for me when I'm thinking Discovery Channel, I want to see documentaries about, with David Attenborough talking about tiny little tree frogs in a hushed, whispered British voice. You know, I expect the History Channel to AKA be the World War II Hitler channel. Like, it's like it's Honey Boo Boo and Pawn Stars and all that stuff. It's a real bummer. Bummer, because I love, like, the Science Channel is one of the few that still seems to hold up well, though. And I worry that it's gonna fall. Hey Devin, welcome sir, and thank you. Yeah, we're doing trying to make a wither. Trying to make a more anatomical correct wither. So, because I know we have a few people cycling through. We're using like reference material to kind of like, you know, get ourselves in the right shapes and sizes, and we're gonna keep working on layers. So what you see here is rough, and then we'll keep building and blocking it out until eventually we just go back and do layers and layers of cleanup. There absolutely should be a David Attenborough channel, and it used to be called the Discovery Channel. Yeah, TLC is terrible. Absolutely terrible. I'm sorry. Like that, and that's why. Like when I went to go cancel my cable, it was here in the States. They were having a big like strike with baseball, and so at the time, a lot of people were ditching their cable because of it. And so when it called, I was like, yeah, we're super sensitive to like, you know, well, is there anything we can do? We can give all this, and you know, we give you these other channels and do this for free. And I was just like, you know what? No, it is not you. You guys, fine. It's the content that's dookie poops. And it was kind of funny that is like the comprehending that like, no, it's the state of television itself is terrible. I mean, the other thing is, you know, I work in production. I see how stories are fabricated and driven. So I'm a little more exposed to the tropes of TV and how you get viewers and how you get people to come in line and follow you from bit to bit. You know, it's like I keep ruining it for people I'm watching it with, where it's like, you know, be like, oh man, you know, that part on the TV was so funny. I was like, you realize that's all fake, right? Like, how the heck would the camera know to be on and pointed at the guy as he picked up the telephone to get that weird call just at the exact right moment that they had another TV crew at the other end of the line? It's like, no, that's all BS. It's all completely fabricated. Believe nothing. Be a cynical butthead like me. But yeah, but big HODs. So transitioning to losing cable, it really just killed the time that you're just wandering on the channels, right? When you're just flipping through trying to find something, anything, that's all it really gets rid of. There wasn't really a lot where I was like, oh man, you know, I really need to go watch American Idol. But then again, I wasn't a fan of it in the first place. What we did, and this is for informational purposes only, I used Usenet to download episodes automatically. These set up with something called Sickbeard and Couch Potato and stuff like that. And so I have and Sabin Bizide to pull Usenet files. So the funny thing was, though, is I was actually getting episodes as they aired on the East Coast, because people would cap and upload them. So I was watching Breaking Bad about an hour before it was airing in my time zone. Ad-free. No commercials. Hey, ATM. Welcome, welcome. You know, it's for so HODs. It's sports are the one thing I think that cable still has going for it, and that's really what you'd have to find an alternate source to. But you know, to each their own. I'm not a big sports guy, or at least watching sports, so it wasn't really a big loss to me. Trying to add some of those ridges to the side of the skull, if you're wondering what I'm doing. Sorry. So we're talking more other stuff than talking about what I'm doing, which is great. It's totally fine. I just have to remember to clue people in. Hey ATM, yeah, the Nerf sword was it was just a quick repaint or supposed to be a quick repaint. I kind of tend to overdo stuff once I get started. It was meant to be as a gift for my nephew, and I got a Nerf sword, painted it up, used a cool technique that I had learned about to give it a good metal, and I actually cut away some of the Nerf and did an actual leather grip that I stained by hand and put together. And I have to say, I thought it was phenomenal. My nephew is a spoiled little booger and didn't really care. So I'm not putting much effort into his gifts anymore. Now my niece, once she's old enough, oh my gosh, she's going to be the coolest kid ever, and she's going to get all the cool gifts. Yeah, politics are always dicey to get into, aren't they? Politics, religions, and sexuality, all the great things that kill a party. Probably worth putting it out there that regardless of political affiliation or sexual orientation or religious affiliation or quote-unquote lack thereof, I am very specifically a very pro-science, also a bit of a skeptic. So regardless of where it is, I always like to know what the evidence is, what the proof is, and my position on most things is always malleable based on what the current evidence is. So you hear that stuff a lot. So without going into all the particular specifics, just putting that out there. Wow. I don't wanna throw my shoulder out of the socket, patting myself on the back, but I have to say we did a freaking awesome job with this. It's really come a good way. I did not expect the skulls to turn out looking this good. So see, it's funny, Diomedes. You'd say you have a social study teacher who won't accept Fox as a source. Now it's funny because he in himself is making a biased limitation. So even if you feel that by and large it's an unreliable source, that in itself doesn't innately make it false. And that's one of those things that people have to be very careful about, and that's you know, sort of one of those logical fallacies for arguments, is that you can't just innately say, oh, false source. I mean, as a really, really, really extreme example would be if you know, you went back in time into the 1940s and Hitler gave you directions to a gas station. Just because he was an awful, terrible guy doesn't mean that the directions to the gas station are necessarily false. But again, that's, you know, so that's what I mean by being a bit of a skeptic, you know? And so Big Hods, how long will this project take? It's a really good question, because the plan for this project is, so what we're going to do next is we'll keep working on it. I'll probably, let's see, we're getting close to a wrapping up point, so this will probably be for next time. We're going to want to add in the spine detail in the back and really build out those bones here and get this sort of like dangling lower piece that the wither has, and we'll build up that step next. And then after that, we'll probably start working on sort of the skin texture, not really skin, but sort of like the pieces that morph it all together and to make it a little more grotesque and wired in. And then we also need to build up a terrain around the bottom to just kind of make it a nice little maquette to set it into. And then once we do that, we kind of want to check it for undercuts and check it for general shape and structure so that we can then mold it. And we'll start working on making a two-piece silicone mold and then a mother mold shell around that. And I don't know if we're going to do a matrix molding technique or if we're just going to do a straight brush-on mold. It's possible we could get away with a glove mold, and then we won't necessarily need to do a two-piece mold, but we'll have to assess that once it's done. And then once that's done, then we can work on doing some resin pours and see how that turns out. So it could very well be another month, maybe. I'm actually taking some time off in the near future. I'll be here on Wednesday, but I will not be here Friday, Monday, or the following Wednesday, but I will be back for that Friday. And we'll pick things up again. So there'll be a little bit of a break, but I don't know. We just kind of go as we go and do what we need to do. I really like sculpting on streams. I think it's really interesting. There's a good level of progression, and it's just interesting. It's something that I can do and talk at the same time, because that's where it can get difficult, you know. So keeping it interesting, hopefully. And thanks, Hods. I really appreciate the compliment. I think overall I'm a little surprised with how well everything turned out, but I'm happy it's still moving in a really good direction. So this is just like roughing, and we're going to keep refining as we go, refining as we go, refining as we go. And we'll eventually get it to a point where it's really kind of sharp and clean looking, hopefully. And then that's what we'll take the time to do the mold. So this is just roughing as we go. And Bronx Tail. So this is the wither from Minecraft. You're right that it was a little bit of a question on whether or not we should be flagging it as Minecraft. It is absolutely inspired from Minecraft. If you can actually see right there, this is our inspiration, the wither. And it was just a little bit of an experiment to see if people would come in and see something they liked that was related to the game they were looking for. So hopefully you enjoy it. But you're right, it's a little bit off-putting. So thank you for the input, I appreciate it. And Diomedes, yes, you would certainly have to qualify the information given and to, verify, find some maybe other sources to confirm with. And so Big Hods, what do I end up doing with it? Well, the intent for this is to actually get to a point of selling it. When I started doing this a couple years ago, I had a couple big commission projects that came in, and that actually just funded my hobby for the rest of the year. And really, that's a place I'd be happy with. If I was making just enough to cover my materials and supplies, I'd be happy. I think what I'm going to try and do, and I know it's a bit of a lofty goal, but we'll try and actually start saving up for a 3D printer. I know it's like a total silly big goal, but it's a way that like we can set a good goal and work towards something. And I think I can do some really cool stuff with a 3D printer once we have one. So that's really about it. That's my plan. Pay for my hobby. It looks like we already lost Bronx, but that's fine. Those are the people that are not interested, and they'll self-select, as they put it. Oh, Diomedes, I would absolutely love that if you did. Another thing I really want to make sure that I do is that when we finish a project that I'm making copies of, that we'll give away at least one. And it's going to be members only. We'll make sure it's to followers, subscribers, or something. We'll figure something out to make sure that there's the support group that we have here are the ones that are eligible for it, and we'll make sure that we at least give one away, because I mean it's part of the fun, right? You spend all this time putting into it. How cool would it be if you had this sucker sitting on your shelf? God, he looks so good. I'm so excited. Sorry, I just like looking at it and I was like, geez, we made that? That's crazy. Yep, we lost Bronx, but that's one. But you know what? Here's the thing. Those are the kind of people, if we can convince them, where they come and be like, well, what's this? And then they go, okay, well, maybe this isn't terrible. I'll sit down for a little bit. And then they see that there's a cool bunch of folk. That's how we win this game. All right, folks. I think I've actually noticed that I have about a 2-hour span on my voice box. It starts to wear, and I get a little sleepy. So this is a good stopping point. We've finished the skulls, or at least roughed them. They're not done by any means. We've got a lot of work to go, but geez, look at that. Look how much progress we've got on giving these guys some character. Really, really, really happy with that. And Diomedes, that's a wonderful example. I think we're working on the Facebook side. I apologize. I know I kind of suck at the social media stuff and the way it's going right now. I mean, I'm pretty much just dumping all these streams onto YouTube, and I'm trying to cut videos down and make something interesting and compelling for you guys there. It's just hard when you have like a full-time job, and I just got a new boss recently, so I got a little bit of extra work in the tank at the moment. But that said, it's really important that I build this stuff out for you guys so that it's more comfortable for you to use, interact with. Like, you know, hey, somebody comes in, they want to check out the work, they should be able to go to propcraft.com and have exactly everything that they want right there. Instagram should have a bunch of stuff on it. It's more interesting. We should have a Facebook group going, absolutely. So these are all things that I really, really, really want to build up and get going for everybody. So just hang in there, please. Sorry, I was just reading Running Bear talking about his roommate getting mad at him.
But let's flip over to weight card. Nope, not weight card, end card. There we go. Nope, end card. There we go. Okay. Thank you guys again. Thank you so much for being a part of this. We have one more stream before my break. So Wednesday night will be the last stream before I take a little bit of time off. So please, if you can, come in and join. Would love to have you there. I will literally be out of town that Friday. Otherwise, I would absolutely stream as well. But I will certainly be back the following Friday. Yes, that Friday I'll be back and online and streaming faux show. But if you haven't had a chance to subscribe, of course, please subscribe to we're on Twitch. Okay, follow on Twitch. And then if you want to go to the YouTube channel, check the links below and you can see where all the streams have been posted. There will be something there worth following soon, but you know, if you're feeling generous and you want to subscribe beforehand so you can see it as it comes out, then by all means, please do. Follow me on Twitter, Propcraft, and you can follow me on Instagram, Propcraft as well. But this is coming along great. I'm really excited for this project. I think we're really going to have something worth putting out in front of people and maybe putting up on a shop or something, which means we need to start a shop at some point. But thank you again, and hopefully I will see you all this Wednesday.